Hey everybody, welcome to the video. So we're breaking down the Bank of America Roval 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval. This will be on Sunday, October 12th at around 2:30 p.m. Eastern. But before we get into it, I want to ask you guys your opinion on the ending of the Talladega race. That was pretty crazy. I know a lot of people have a bunch of different thoughts on that. Do you guys think Denny Hamlin should have got the penalty? I'm not really sure. It looked like he passed some guys below the yellow line. But, I mean, there's just a bunch of penalties, and that was a very crazy race. But it was also a very entertaining race, too, that pretty much checked every single box that you could have wanted. It was an exciting playoff race. It was fun for DFS purposes. It was fun from a fan standpoint. There was a bunch of wrecks. No one got hurt, so you could enjoy the wrecks. Kurt Busch pretty much went airborne, landed on top of a car. Very exciting ending, and it was just crazy. I know it was a very roller coaster ending for me for DFS purposes, because I don't know about you guys, but I had a lot of Chase Elliott. And with him getting that penalty, I had quite a few lines in the top 10 for the 150 max, and those got all bumped down. I ended up having an awful day. Then an hour later, I saw an update that Chase Elliott got the penalty reversed, and ended up getting a top 5, and my lineups went right back up. And then Chris Buescher went down, MDB went down. It never got changed. MDB was down from the start when he finished second, which sucked if you owned MDB, or sucked also if you sucked for MDB as well. But Denny Hamlin, that was kind of the very questionable one. A lot of people thought he should have got the penalty. Some people were saying he shouldn't have. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know. That was just a very crazy ending, but it was very exciting. I can't complain. Very exciting race. And I think that's pretty much all I want to say about that. But before we continue, again, as always, if you guys could just leave a like. I know it's something as small as just leaving a like on a video, but the more you guys interact with my content, leaving likes, leaving comments, and all that fun stuff, it's going to really help me out, and I really do appreciate that. And also, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And again, I also really do appreciate that. I'm going to be here all season long trying to help you guys become better NASCAR DFS players, which I do realize the season is closing into the end, but we do go into November. Then we start right back up again in February, so it's not really that long of an off season. So I pretty much do this all year round. And I cover other sports as well, including the NFL and the MLB too. So if you're going to keep coming back to the channel each and every single day or each and every single week, you might as well hit the subscribe button and turn that notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I post new videos. And if you don't follow me over on social media, I'm at Pennell16 on Twitter, which I got over 1,500 followers over there, which I know doesn't really mean anything, but that was pretty cool to see. So thank you for all of you who do follow me over on Twitter. I do appreciate that. And if you don't follow me over on Instagram, I'm at CPen16. I don't really post fancy stuff on Instagram, but if you want to see what I'm eating that day or what music I'm listening to, or if I won a game in Warzone or whatever I'm doing with my girlfriend, you can follow me over on there. It's more of my personal social media, I guess. And if you want some more content over on Patreon, that's always much appreciated. You get access to all my extra NASCAR DFS content, which includes my weekly article that I write every single week, which I got to work on soon. So working on some NFL stuff and getting this video up. It's actually 3 in the morning when I'm recording this, so if I look tired, I am tired, but I wanted to get this up for you guys in the morning because I like to try to stay with the schedule. And if I don't record in the morning, I'll probably end up posting it in the evening or afternoon. So I thought I'd record it now and I'll just sleep until like 11 tomorrow. But I think I lost my train of thought. No, I was talking about the article. Yeah, and you also get access into the entire NASCAR DFS spreadsheet, which's got everything you need heading into a race weekend. This is the only thing I use besides an optimizer where I upload my stuff from my spreadsheet to the optimizer. But you get the projections, the power rankings, the green flag speed cheat sheet, the cheat sheet, my own GPP driver exposures, and a bunch of other stuff. It's got a lot of information. I think all of it's useful, and I think you'd find it very helpful. It's only $10 a month, so I think it's a pretty good price. So, and you also hop into the Discord chat, come in, hang out with all the people in there, ask me questions, bug me all day if you want. Doesn't matter to me. And if so, like I said, if you're interested, links down below for that. But if not, that's fine. Let's just get into the preview of this race. I just realized we're about 5 minutes in. I haven't talked about anything yet, and I still got to talk about the preview. But hey, it's my video. I can go as long as I want. If you don't like it, just skip through it. But anyway, this is the preview. Actually, I'm going to say a couple more things really quick, and then I promise I'll get into it. But if you guys are wondering why I haven't done the live stream or the DK contest, it's mainly just because it's football season and people really aren't going to be that interested in joining a NASCAR live stream. I actually tried doing one the day before a race on Saturday night. Didn't really get many people in there, and it's supposed to be an interactive live stream. I'm not there to talk about the slate again, because that's what I'm doing in this video. It's like an hour-long video just talking about the slate. I don't want to do it again. I mainly just want to go in there, hang out, answer you guys' questions, just have a good time. But there's not a lot of people in there. It's going to be hard to be that interactive. So I was just kind of planning on not doing them until next season because, again, football is kind of taking that over. And it's just kind of hard to have a really fun live stream if we're not going to get too many people in there. And then for the DK contest, I just feel like it's not going to fill because it's on Football Sunday during the slate. So I feel like it'd be a little bit hard to fill that. But if you guys want to, I could consider if you let me know in the comments below. I love doing the live stream. It's just hard to do if there's not going to be too many people in there, which is why I made the video private a couple of weeks ago, because I know a couple of people were asking me that. I didn't think it was that valuable because we didn't get too many people in there and wasn't really too many questions. But I think that's it. Okay, so let's get into the preview of this video, 5 minutes in. So it's the Bank of America Roval 400. There's your outline of the track. This is the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. It's a road course at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's 2.28 miles in length. There's only 109 laps, meaning we only have 81 dominator points available, which means dominators aren't going to be too important in this race. Yeah, you're going to need the main dominator lineup to take down a tournament, but this is definitely not a track where you need 3 dominators in your lineup. You could stretch it to 2. Like if you think Truex and Chase Elliott are going to finish 1-2 and they're both going to lead half the race, yeah, that's fine. They could make the optimal lineup. But there's a lot of good expensive PD plays on this slate that I definitely have some interest in. And with there only being 81 dominator points available, I think most of your lineup should probably have 1 dominator and then mix it in with a bunch of guys that you think could finish pretty high and get some PD potential as well. I think you can stretch it to 2 in some lineups, but for the most part, I think we're looking at 1 dominator builds with a bunch of PD guys. Or you could go straight place differential if you want to play it really safe, because a guy like Ryan Blaney could potentially get up front and lead laps. I don't think it's super likely, but if you want to play the place differential game, you can do that. But I think in tournaments, you're definitely going to want 1 dominator for the most part. That's pretty much it for the preview. Nothing else too special. So we'll get into the driver by driver breakdown, which I know is why most people are here. So if you skipped the entire intro, I get it, but welcome to the video. We're going to go to the driver by driver breakdown now at this point. And keep in mind, when we talk about the Roval, we've only ran 2 races here, so it's not that big of a sample size. So I think you should probably rely more heavily on the track type form, which actually has the past 10 races at road courses. So we're going to break down through it all. And we'll start up top with Ryan Blaney at 10,900. He's starting 24th. He's a bit pricey, but he has been pretty good at the Roval. And again, this is not a track where dominator points are going to be super important. So PD, we can put a little bit more emphasis on. So Ryan Blaney's going to be great as a pretty strong play for me on this slate. He actually won one of the 2 races we've had at the Roval so far. He's got an average finish of 4.5, running position of 12.8, 8 laps led per race, and he's finished in the top 10 each and every single time, starting all the way back in the pack at 24th. This is going to make him a pretty strong play. He's also pretty darn good at the road courses too. 3 top 5 finishes, 6 top 10s. Not typically someone that dominates, but he doesn't really have to dominate starting 24th. I think he can be a very strong PD play, and I think he can get us over maybe around 50 points, if not more, depending on where he finishes. But I do think he's going to have a pretty solid race here, and I certainly have interest. The only problem with Ryan Blaney is if you play him, you're kind of sacrificing a Chase Elliott and a Truex, which I really like those guys, and it's hard not to just lock button Chase Elliott at a road course. It really is, because he's just so good at these. But if you can fit in a Blaney with an Elliott, I say go for it, but I realize that might be pretty hard to do. But I definitely like Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott, 10,600. He's starting second. It's like I just said, it's hard not to lock Chase Elliott in. I'm never going to lock a guy in a 150 max contest, but man, Chase Elliott is the road course ghost. I guess I got Halloween on my mind. Road course GOAT, because he has just been phenomenal. He's great at the Roval, an average finish of 3.5. The best driver, and he's got a win. And he actually wrecked in that race, and he went right back through the field. He won the race, and he did a burnout right where he wrecked. It was incredible. He is just so good at road courses. And if we're looking at the past 10 races, he's got 4 wins at them. He's got the most laps led, the second most fast laps, and the second most DraftKings points scored per race. So Chase Elliott, he's a super elite play here. He's super good at road courses. Yeah, he's starting alongside Denny Hamlin, but I think Chase Elliott gets the lead here pretty early on. I think Denny Hamlin's I don't think he's a good road course driver. He is a good road course driver, but Chase Elliott's just a bit better, and I think he can certainly grab that lead from him, so I definitely like Chase Elliott. Martin Truex Jr., he's right up there with Chase Elliott as being the best road course driver in the series. Now, he's not as good at the Roval so far, but again, it's only a 2-race sample size. But if we're looking at the past 10 races, again, he's right up there with Chase Elliott. He's actually better than Chase Elliott in some categories. He's actually got more top 5s, more fast laps, a better driver rating, a better average running position, a better average finish, and slightly higher average DraftKings points per race. But these guys are neck and neck. Truex is a little bit cheaper. He's also starting a little bit farther back in the pack, which makes him a better play, or I guess this is a safer play because he's starting 7th. You get a little bit more of a floor there, while Chase Elliott doesn't really have a floor starting 2nd. But I do like Truex quite a bit. If you can play both these guys in the same lineup, I think that's It might be a bit risky because, again, dominator points are going to be too important, but I definitely think these guys could go 1-2 and lead like half the race each. So definitely like both here, both excellent options. It's hard to start a lineup without one of those two guys. It really is. Then dropping down to Keselowski at 10,100. He is starting third. I feel like he's more of the tournament option here because, look, Ryan Blaney is a very solid play. Elliott's a great play. Truex is a great play. Keselowski, he kind of falls in a weird spot where he's not the best road course driver, but he's certainly not bad at road courses. He's got 3 top 5 finishes the past 10 races at these, and he's actually got 16 laps led per race at the Roval so far, which is third most, only behind Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick. But the reason I say he's more of a tournament play is because he's sandwiched in between Busch, Hamlin, Harvick, Truex, Elliott, Blaney, which I think will all be more popular than him, so this makes him a decent pivot off of those guys. I don't love him, but I think he's a decent pivot. So I don't mind Keselowski in tournaments, but I definitely don't like him as much as the guys I just listed beside him. Dropping down to Kevin Harvick, 9,900. He's been pretty good at the Roval so far, averaging 52 DraftKings points per race, which is only behind Chase Elliott. Average finish of 6, average running position of 6.4, which is best of all drivers so far. He's got a top 5, 2 top 10s, the second most laps led. So Kevin Harvick, I think he's a fine play. He's pretty good at the road courses, averaging 42 DraftKings points per race. Has a win, 3 top 5s, 7 top 10 finishes. Hasn't led as many laps as Truex or Chase Elliott, but still, it's Kevin Harvick. He's had one of the best cars all season long. Now, he was not very good at the Daytona road course when he started on the pole, but I think he's a fine option here. 9,900 is not really breaking the bank, and again, he's just a fine pivot off of the chalkier, I think my voice just cracked, the chalkier Chase Elliott's and Martin Truex Jr.'s of the world. Now, Denny Hamlin, he's on the pole. He's coming off a win at at Talladega. 9,700. He's pretty good at road courses. Now, so far at the Roval, he's not had the best success. Only 41 DraftKings points per race, which isn't bad, but an average finish of 15.5, running position of 21.1, but 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, only 1 top 15. I'd hope he'd get a top 20, so he's been in the top 20 each time, but hasn't been too great for Denny Hamlin. But if you're looking overall at road courses in his career, he's very, very good at them. Average finish of 7.3, nearly 45 DraftKings points per race, has a win, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and overall some very strong numbers. He looked pretty good at the road course at Daytona as well. He actually gave Chase Elliott a run for his money at the end of that race too. So I think he's fine. I really do think that Chase Elliott's probably going to pass him early on in this race because of how good Chase Elliott is at road courses. Like, they're both great, but Chase Elliott's just a little bit better. So it's a bit risky on the pole because he can definitely lose some spots here. And I think overall he's going to lose spots. I don't think he's going to win. I think it's either going to be Chase Elliott or Martin Truex. But if I had to pick my third guy, I would say Denny Hamlin. Like, if I had 3 picks to win, I would say Chase Elliott number 1, Truex number 2, and then Denny Hamlin number 3. So I think he's fine. If he can hold that lead and lead a majority of this race, yeah, he's going to be a pretty good play. And he also like that price tag at 9,700 too. So I will certainly have some exposure because he is very good at road courses. Now, Kyle Busch at 9,500, he has had a bad time at the Roval so far. He's averaging -9 DraftKings points per race, an average finish at 34.5. He also ran into issues at the Daytona road course earlier in the season as well, where he had a tire issue, which kind of hurt his day. But he's a strong road course driver. Now, he's only averaging 27 DraftKings points per race at the past 10 races, but he's got 4 top 5 finishes, 6 top 10s. He also led laps and has the third most fast laps as well. So Kyle Busch, I like him in tournaments, and he actually has to win in this race, so he's also got that added motivation. And he hasn't won this year, and he's always won every year in his career, so he's going to want to win this race, and I guess it'd be a good narrative for Kyle Busch. So I like him in tournaments here. Only 9,500, starting 9, so you get a little bit of PD upside as well. Not that hard of a fit in your lineup, so Kyle Busch, fine in tournaments, but definitely don't like him as much as Denny Hamlin, Harvick, Truex, Elliott, or Blaney. Sorry, I mentioned my back. I got to make sure my camera's not out of focus now. And it's not, so we're good. So going down to Joey Logano, he's 9,300. Starting with Kyle Busch back in the 8th, 9th range. And he's not the best road course driver in the world. So far at the Roval, he's finished in the top 10 each time, which is nice. Average finish of 10th, running position of 14th. But not someone that typically dominates at the road courses. He's only got 1 top 5 finish the past 10 races at these. 4 top 10s and 5 top 15s, only 1.3 laps led per race. Do I think he's going to suck? No, I think he's probably going to hover around the top 10, but I don't really think he's going to be a threat to win this race or really dominate. I think he'll get an okay finish, but I'm looking for a little bit more at 9,300. I think he's just fine to have a sprinkle in tournaments, but not someone I'm going to Definitely not someone I'm going to use in cash games, and definitely not someone I'm going to play in like a single entry or a 3-entry max lineup. Now, Jimmy Johnson, 9,100. He is starting 30th. I'm going to have some interest in Jimmy Johnson. He's got 2 races at the Roval so far, as does everyone, but average finish of 8.5, a running position of 9.4, a driver rating of 105. No top 5s, but 2 top 10s. He is starting all the way back in 30th. That's what I'm saying, guys. I think these $1 builds are probably the way to go because Johnson's a 9,100. He's pretty expensive, and I feel like you're going to want to get him in cash games because if he's got top 10 upside starting 30th, we're going to want him in at 9,100. It's a bit pricey, but it doesn't kill you, but it'll just be hard to fit in a Chase Elliott, a Truex, and a Jimmy Johnson and also build a balanced out lineup with some of these guys like Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse, or even Christopher Bell. So that's why I'm kind of leaning these $1 build lineups. And like I said, you could also make an all PD lineup with Ryan Blaney, then Johnson, then McDowell, then Ricky Stenhouse, and Christopher Bell. I think that would work out pretty well, and it's probably pretty safe. But yeah, anyway, I do like Jimmy Johnson quite a bit. I mean, there's just really no downside here. He's been good at the Roval. At road courses, he's got a top 5, 3 top 10s, 6 top 15s. We know we're going to get positive PD here out of Jimmy Johnson unless he wrecks. So yeah, big fan at starting 3rd and 30th. Alex Bowman, he is 9,000. He's starting 5th. He's had a good run at the Roval. Although I will say his average finish is way higher than his average running position. But he's finished in the top 5 both times. He's got an average finish of 3rd, 41.8 DraftKings points per race. Oh, that's a big difference in the average finish and the average running position. I will say that. But he's a fine road course driver. He's got an average finish inside the top 10, nearly 40 DraftKings points per race, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 7 top 15s. Bowman's more of a tournament play, but definitely not someone that's really on my radar too much because it's hard to prioritize him over guys like Johnson, Logano, Busch, Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, or even some guys below him because there's not really that much upside. And again, this is it's more of a, I wouldn't say it's a PD race, but it kind of is because there's not a lot of laps to be had. It's more of a finishing position race, which, again, I think he's going to get a finishing position. I don't think he's going to be that high owned either, but there's just a lot of upside starting 5th. But I do like him a bit just because he's good at the Roval and he's good at road courses. Then dropping down to the 8K range, we have Clint Boyer, who announced he's going to the booth in 2021, which I think is pretty cool because Clint Boyer he's a fun personality. For this week, I'm a fan of him because he is very good at the road courses, and at the Roval so far, he's finished in the top 5 each time. He's averaging 45 DraftKings points per race and an average finish of 3.5. And if you're looking at history at road courses, very, very good, an average finish of 8.3. He's got 5 top 5s, which is, I think, only behind Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. It's actually tied with Chase Elliott. Now, he doesn't typically dominate 0.2 laps led per race, only 3.2 fast laps, but Clint Boyer, a very good road course driver, and starting 11th, you get a little bit of PD upside as well, so I think this makes him a very strong tournament play, because starting in 11th doesn't look as great as someone starting in 30th, so Clint Boyer, I like him quite a bit in tournaments, and he can certainly have some top 5 upside. William Byron, 8,600, he is starting 13th. I think he's an okay tournament play. He's got 3 top 10 finishes in 7 races at road courses. Average finish is 17.3, but an average running position of 13.7, which is much better. If you're looking at his history at the Roval so far, hasn't been great. Average finish of 20th, but an average running position of 11.6, which is a lot better. And he has a top 10 finish as well. I'm kind of viewing him as just a tournament play. I'd prefer Clint Boyer if you had to pick between the two, but he's fine for tournaments. Kurt Busch, 8,400. He is starting 10th. Another guy that's kind of just okay for me. He does have a top 5 finish at the Roval, which is nice. If you're looking at the past 10 races at road courses, they're pretty good. Averaging 41 DraftKings points per race, an average finish of 10.1. He has a top 5, 6 top 10s, and 9 top 15s. I don't know, starting 10th, though, it's just, I'd rather play Michael McDowell, to be honest. Eric Jones, I think I'd rather play Eric Jones as well. He's just a little bit cheaper, starting a little bit farther back. But Kurt Busch, he's certainly a guy that has top 5 upside. He's probably going to finish inside the top 10, and I feel like he's just going to be a little bit lower owned than guys like Jimmy Johnson and Stenhouse and Christopher Bell. So I think that makes him a fine tournament option just to get some lower ownership. Eric Jones, 8,200, starting 14th. He's pretty good at the road courses. He's got 2 top 5 finishes the past 9 races at them, 5 top 10 finishes, and 6 top 15s. Looking at his record at the Roval so far, it's not been good for Mr. Eric Jones. Average running position of 30.5, driver rating of 45, average finish of 35, and negative 12.5 DraftKings points per race. But I think he'll be a bit better than that. He's good at road courses, and I think he's a fine tournament option. Now, the best play in this price range, just overall, I think, is Michael McDowell. Then I would say Clint Boyer is number 2, but let's just get into Michael McDowell. He's starting 31st, 8,100, which When I saw the price tag, I was a bit upset because I thought he was going to be my value play of the week. Unfortunately, they priced him pretty high, but it's just because he's very good at road courses. Like, he ran very well at the Daytona road course. I forget exactly where he finished, but he ran very well in that race. In both these Roval races, he's finished inside the top 20. And if you're looking at his past 10 races of road courses, he's got 8 top 20 finishes, 4 top 15s, and actually 1 top 10 as well. No top 5s. But Michael McDowell starting 31st. I mean, I still think he's a pretty good play. I think that price tag's going to scare some people off of him, but that doesn't scare me. He's just a very solid road course driver. And now MDB 7900, he is starting 20th. Thankfully, the Wood brothers renewed him, and I'm very happy to see him back once again. I do like MDB. I think he's a fun driver to root for. And he's starting 20th, and I think he's a fine play here. He's been fine at the Roval so far. The 2 races we've had here, he's finished inside the top 15 each time. He's got an average finish of 12th. If you're looking at his road course history, he's averaging 32 DraftKings points per race at these. He's got a top 5, 2 top 10s, and 5 top 15s. Starting 20th, 7,900. I think he's a pretty solid play. I feel like he's more a tournament option, though, because I'd rather play Michael McDowell. I'd rather play Stenhouse and Christopher Bell. But a lot of people are going to think that as well. So I think MDB should be lower owned than he should. I think that makes him a fine pivot in tournaments. Eric Almirola, 7,800. He is starting 12th. He's an okay play. He's finished in the top 20 each time at the Roval, but I mean, we're looking for more than a top 20. He does have a top 15 finish, but he's okay. I mean, again, he's going to be lower owned just because of who he's priced around, like Stenhouse, Christopher Bell. These guys are going to be super chalky. I also think Custer should have some ownership as well, and MDB is going to have some ownership. So can't see many people playing Almirola. He does have 2 top 10 finishes at road courses, 4 top 15s, but I feel like he's a bit of a risky play here. I think it's a slim chance he happens to be optimal this week. Now, digging into some very chalky plays, we have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 7,700, and we got Christopher Bell 7,500 starting 35th. I'm surprised DraftKings did not price these guys up. It's kind of like they were giving us some free squares for the most part. Now, Stenhouse, he's not very good at the road courses, but you don't have to be when you're starting in dead last. He has got the safest floor here, and look, I know he's not that great at road courses, but he's going to be able to move up from 38th. He's not going to be sitting around where Joey Gase is all day. Now, at the Roval so far, he has 1 top 20 finish and drive rating of 66.4, average finish of 27th, but an average running position of 18.9. If he hit a top 20 at 7,700 starting 38th, he's got a good chance of making the optimal lineup. So Ricky Stenhouse, we got to have some interest. He's got 6 top 20 finishes the past 10 races at road courses, which is good enough for me. So Ricky Stenhouse, they just forgot to price him up, and I think he's a fine play here. Definitely someone you're going to want to play in cash games for 100% sure. Christopher Bell, 7,500. He's starting 35th. He actually won a road course in the Xfinity Series, and he only has 1 Cup race at a road course, so you can't really put too much stock into it. He finished 21st, but he had an average running position of 15.4, which is plenty of spots ahead of his qualifying spot of 35th. So Christopher Bell, this is kind of just a plug-and play where he's just a little bit too cheap here, and we know he's going to finish way higher than where he's going to start. So I like Christopher Bell at that price point. That's kind of just an easy play there. Tyler Reddick, 7,400, another rookie. He's starting 16th. Again, only 1 race at a road course in his Cup career, but he did finish 18th in that race. I'm not really too interested in Tyler Reddick. Does he have top 15 upside? Sure, I might have a couple of lineups with him at 150 max, but outside of that, I don't really have too much interest. Austin Dillon, he sucks at road courses. He has not been good at the Roval so far, an average finish of 31st. And if you're looking at the past 9 races at road courses, he's got only 2 top 20s, and that's it. Average finish of 26.1. I don't really have any interest in Austin Dillon starting 6th. I think he's a pretty strong fade candidate. Now, Cole Custer, 7,100. He is starting 28th. I think he's a fine PD play here. I like the price point. He's got an average running position of 22, which is only in 1 race, but I think he's got top 20 upside here. So Cole Custer starting 28th. He's a pretty solid option. Chris Buescher, 6,900. He is starting 21st. He has finished at the Roval in the top 20 each and every single time so far with an average finish of 17.5. If you're looking at his road course history, it's actually pretty good. Average finish of 16.1. He's got a top 5, 4 top 15s, and 9 top 20s. So Chris Buescher, I think he's actually a pretty decent play. There's not a ton of upside, a ton of PD upside here starting 21st, but he's got top 15 potential, and I will take that. I think that's going to be a fine tournament play there for Chris Buescher. Sorry, I paused the video quick. And if you guys keep seeing quick pauses in the video, it's because I'm pausing it because I got a cough and drink some water. I don't feel that good. I don't know why. It just started hitting me. So hopefully I'm not getting sick. But it might just be because I'm tired. It's 3 in the morning. So bear with me here. But Daniel Suarez, he is 6,700. He's starting 34th. I feel like he's a bit pricey here, especially for the equipment he's in. He did finish 27th, I believe, at the Daytona road course earlier this season. But This car sucks, so I don't know. I don't like paying $7,000 for him, but I mean, he's got a decent history at the road courses. He's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 6 top 20s, and 3 top 15s. The problem is, though, that was a much better equipment. So if you're looking at what he's done this season, he's got an average running position of 27.8, which is kind of right on par where he finished at the road course, and I think that's probably where he's going to finish once again. Like, he's going to get you positive PD for the most part, unless he wrecks, which I don't think he has a wreck this season. I don't think he's got a DNF. He might have one DNF, but he's actually been holding his own this year. He should gain around 5 spots, which is okay, but for nearly $7,000, I don't really think that's enough. Bubba Wallace, 6,500. He's starting 26th. He had a good showing at Talladega. And he's usually a pretty good super speedway driver. Unfortunately, kind of got caught up into a mess, but he was leading some laps. I mean, it was looking pretty good. But so far at the road courses, he's not been that great. At the Roval, average finish of 30th, no top 20s, and some pretty disappointing numbers. If you look at the past 7 races at road courses, he hasn't cracked the top 20 yet, so I feel like he's a fine option to be lower on. Definitely not too interested in Bubba Wallace. Ryan Newman, 6,400. He's starting 15th. He is very cheap here. He's capable at road courses. I wouldn't say he's great at them, but so far at the Roval, he's got a top 15. Average finish of 21.5 is not great, but if you're looking at the past 10 races at road courses, it doesn't get too much better, but he does have 3 top 15 finishes and 6 top 20s. It's mainly just a price play here if you're playing Ryan Newman. I'm not against it. I'm just not really for it too much, but he's kind of just a in-the-middle meh play. Not going to get too excited about it. Matt Kenseth, 6,200. He's starting 23rd. I feel like he's a bit too cheap here. I know circumstances have changed, but if you're looking at his past 5 races at road courses, average running position of 15.7, nearly 30 DraftKings points per race. He's got a top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s. I actually think he's fine for the price tag. Starting 23rd, he should be able to gain you a few spots. So far this season, he's got an average running position of 19.1, 9 top 15 finishes, and 15 top 20s. I like that price tag for Matt Kenseth, and my projections do like him a bit. I think I'm going to have to tone him down a little bit, but they do like him. So only 6,200, I just feel like he's a little cheap here. John Hunter Nemechek, 6,000, starting 19th. He's probably going to wreck at some point in this race. That's just what he does, but he's got one crew race here in the Cup Series, and he finished 35th. So, I don't know, you can't put too much stock into it. He had an average running position of 27.1, but starting 19th, I feel like is a fine option to really just be way lower on or just fade completely. Corey LaJoie, 5,800. He is starting 32nd. He actually has an average finish of 27th here, which is a little bit higher than his qualifying spot. Running position of 30.8. Does not have a top 20, but again, he only has one race here. So if we're looking at the past 5 races at the Cup Series, no top 20s, average finish of 31.6, and average running position of 29.6. Nothing to get too excited about. I think he'll gain a couple of spots. He's fine if you're in a pinch, if you need some PD, but outside of that, it's all right. But you're going to be forced to use, I guess, some of these guys because if you're kind of going up here a little bit, you're going to have to use some of these value options, and there's really just not that many good value options, which is, I guess, why my projections like putting Matt Kenseth in a lot of lineups because he's only 6,200 and he's just got more upside than the guys below him. But Ty Dillon, 5,700, he's starting 17th. 2 races at the Roval so far, averaging 34 DraftKings points per race, which is pretty good. Average finish of 18th. He's got a top 15. Looking at the past 9 races for him at road courses, only 3 top 20s and 1 top 15, but he's okay if you're in a pinch, but I think it's very likely he loses spots in this race. Very likely. James Davison, 5,500, starting 37th. I think he's okay. He should gain like 5 spots at the very least. So he has 1 race at road courses in the Cup Series, which was at the Daytona Road Course. He finished 30th at an average running position of 31.8, but that's actually fine. At only 5,500, starting 37th, he should be able to contend for a top 30 here, and if you're in a pinch, I don't hate it. So I think James Davison's okay. Again, none of these guys are super exciting, but I think he is okay if you're in a pinch. Ryan Preece, 5,400. He kind of snuck his way down here. I kind of just missed him, but he's only 5,400, starting 18th. He has 1 race here at the Roval. He finished 21st, and he actually has 4 Cup races in the at the road courses. He has an average running position of 23rd, an average finish of 27.3, and 0 top 20s. That's a tough sell for me on Ryan Preece. And then the rest of these guys are just kind of garbage for the most part. J.J. Yeley starting 33rd. Probably going to be a pass there. Greg Golding, maybe. He's got 1 race at a road course. He finished 30th and had an average running position of 30.9. That's not terrible starting 36. I think Golding's in play for a punt, but besides Greg Golding, these guys are starting way too high up just because of their finishes at Talladega. Timmy Hill, 27th, Gase 29th, Poole 22nd, Half 25th. I can just pass on that for the most part. So I really wouldn't go below Greg Golding, I guess. But I think he's somewhat viable. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you made it all the way through, please let me know in the comments below. I always love knowing who made it all the way through. I'm sorry if I was stuttering my words a little bit, if I look tired. It's because I am. It's like 3:15 in the morning, so I'm going to go to bed now. But appreciate you guys watching. Leave a like if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps me. I really do appreciate that. If you want to follow me on social media, feel free to do that. Handles are in the description below, and they're also right there on your screen if you just want to look them up. And again, I have my Patreon content, which has a bunch of stuff on there, and I work really hard on this throughout the entire week, so I do appreciate the support on there because I do put a lot of work into it. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. If you want to check out the NFL DFS content, I have my final thoughts video posted like 5 minutes probably before I post this one, and also do a couple more videos throughout the week as well. So I'm going to head out of here. Hope you guys enjoy the start to your weekend. I'm going to get some sleep.